Have you ever watched Breaking Bad? It starts with Walter White, an ordinary high school chemistry teacher, a quiet, timid family man. But as circumstances change, he transforms into Heisenberg, a ruthless criminal mastermind. He didn't become a monster overnight. It was a series of small, seemingly insignificant choices that led him down a dark path. So, how do good people turn bad? The answer is far more complex than we might think, rooted in psychological, social, and environmental factors. The psychology of pressure. One of the most crucial factors influencing human behavior is conformity and obedience to authority. In the 1960s, psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted an experiment where participants were instructed by an authority figure to administer what they believed were painful electric shocks to another person. Disturbingly, many complied, even when they heard the supposed victim in distress. This experiment demonstrated how people, under pressure from authority, can set aside their moral compass and follow orders, even if it means harming others. This tendency extends beyond individual experiments. History is full of instances where authoritarian regimes exploited obedience, turning ordinary people into instruments of oppression. People who, under normal circumstances, would never commit violence can be conditioned to accept and even justify cruelty when they feel part of a system that normalizes it. Dehumanization. Stripping away humanity. Another psychological mechanism at play is dehumanization. This occurs when certain groups of people are labeled as other or enemies, stripping them of their individuality and making it easier to justify mistreating them. Some of the worst atrocities in history were preceded by extensive propaganda that dehumanized entire populations. For example, in Nazi Germany, anti-Semitic propaganda portrayed Jewish people as subhuman, facilitating widespread persecution and genocide. Dehumanization isn't just found in history books. It happens in daily life. Stereotyping entire professions, ethnicities, or ideologies can reduce our empathy toward them, making it easier to treat them unfairly. Recognizing individuals beyond their labels can counteract this effect and foster a more ethical perspective. Social roles and group dynamics. One of the most famous psychological studies on this topic is Philip Zimbardo's Stanford Prison Experiment. In this study, college students were randomly assigned roles as prisoners or guards in a simulated prison environment. Within days, those assigned as guards began exhibiting cruel and abusive behavior, while the prisoners became submissive and emotionally distressed. The experiment demonstrated how quickly people conform to the roles assigned to them, even if those roles push them toward unethical actions. This phenomenon extends beyond experimental settings. In workplaces, political movements, and military structures, individuals may adopt behaviors they wouldn't normally exhibit simply because they feel their role demands it. A sense of duty or loyalty to a group can override personal morality, leading people to justify actions they once would have condemned. Moral erosion. Small steps toward darkness. The descent into unethical behavior rarely happens all at once. It often begins with small compromises, justifying a minor dishonesty, turning a blind eye to injustice, or following unethical orders for the sake of convenience. Over time, these small moral slips accumulate, leading to larger transgressions. Psychologist Albert Bandura's theory of moral disengagement explains how individuals rationalize their unethical behavior. By telling themselves that everyone does it or that their actions serve a greater good, they silence their conscience and continue down a dangerous path. Resisting the pull of darkness. So, how can people prevent themselves from slipping into moral corruption? The first step is awareness. Understanding the psychological mechanisms at play helps individuals recognize and resist them. Studying social psychology, history, and ethics strengthens one's moral framework. Second, social support is vital. Surrounding oneself with principled individuals who reinforce ethical behavior provides a safeguard against moral compromise. People are less likely to justify unethical actions when they have a strong moral network. Third, proactive decision-making can be a defense. Thinking ahead about how to respond to ethical dilemmas makes it easier to act with integrity when real-life situations arise. For instance, if one anticipates facing ethical challenges at work, having a plan to uphold their values makes them more likely to do so under pressure. Finally, courage is essential. History remembers those who stood against injustice, whether as leaders of major movements or individuals who refused to participate in wrongdoing. Evil thrives in silence, and speaking out against injustice, no matter how small, can be a powerful act of resistance. The thin line between good and evil. Human nature is not rigidly divided into good and evil. Circumstances, roles, and psychological influences shape people's actions. The same forces that lead individuals to commit terrible acts can also inspire acts of great courage and kindness. Every day, we make choices that shape who we become. Holding on to our values, questioning unethical norms, and having the courage to stand up for what is right are the keys to resisting moral decline. The question is, when the moment comes, which side will you choose?